Mm. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of a 70-30 guy. Twitch is like, no, you're more of a 50-50 guy. Yeah. Do you think that Starfield will be like this? I have no idea. I have no clue what Todd is going to be like with that stuff. We'll see. I'm very interested to see if the main story of Starfield is going to feel like an amazing hype experience, or if it's going to feel kind of like previous. I'm going to be blunt.
Be enough for now.
I kind of feel like in all Bethesda games that the main quest is just kind of like a collection of relatively decent side quests. That's kind of how they've all felt. So when I play No Man's Skyrim, I'm going in again. That stuff is tempered expectations. Yeah, that stuff is tempered expectations. So, I mean, I'll be happy if I get a string of fantastic side quests with an actual meaningful conclusion that's not some wishy-washy 2001 Space Odyssey kind of ending. I'll be happy. Yeah, I'll be happy. The spinning aliens were inside you all along. Yeah,
enough. No. I hope.
You know, let's hopefully there'll be some kind of cool, interesting ending that I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Oh, you win. That might even be enough for old Blackthorn. Hey, before we go, do you mind if we have a chat?
I wanted to apologize for barging in on you and the lady back in camp. Sorry I ruined everything.
Feels like ages since we had the chance to talk. You know, man to man like.
It does, doesn't it?
Back when you first took Sid's name, we were talking all the time. Working out what to do in that.
There was a lot to work out.
And there still is. Those shoulders of yours starting to feel the strain. Hardly ever see you around the Hideaway nowadays. Always on some errand or other. You can take a day off, you know.
Says the man who spends most of his time behind enemy lines.
Only 'cause you keep sending me there.
What's that supposed to mean?
I know I can count on you, Gav.
Do you want a break or something?
Likewise. So you keep sending me wherever you need to, and I'll keep going. Safe in the knowledge that I have a home to come back to. Thanks to you. Right. That's enough soppy shite for one day. We'd better get this lot back to Blackthorn before he slings his hammer at someone.
Death flaggy there, but
you go on ahead. And try to get some rest once you're there.
See, now I want to know what Otto would have said.
I plan to. Believe you me. After Blackthorn gets what he needs, of course.
Huh. Yeah.
Right. Ready to go home, boy?
Oh! Bark! Torgo, best boy. I mean, Gav is cool and all, but can I go on a quest with my puppers? Like, rub his belly a whole bunch and talk about how much I love him? Let me do that. I want to play that quest. I want to play that filler. Maybe we could, like, take him to the puppy groomers and, like, give him a little day at the doggy spa. Mm-hmm.
Blackthorn, got everything you need?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Cheers for the Stardust. Should be enough to be getting on with.
We should go out on maneuvers together more often. You know, it beats sneaking around on your Todd all the time.
I'll make a start on putting this thermal plating together then. It will take some time, mind. So if you've got other things to be getting on with, I could do without you breathing down my neck.
Thank you, Blackthorn. I'll let Mid know construction's underway.
I feel like Gav is kind of tragic. It's like, yeah, I'll do all that stuff, but I don't really want to do all that stuff.
Suppose we'd better be getting back to work too.
Give us a shout if you need anything.
One sec. The lip animations in this game look pretty terrible. Yeah, I agree. The graphics are fantastic, but when you zoom in on conversations, it feels a little disconnected. Yeah. It doesn't feel tight. There's not a lot of tightness there. It's kind of loose. Not tight. Wish it was tighter. Just zoom out more. Okay. What percentage of the game is cutscenes? The game lasts approximately between 30 and 35 hours if you just do the main story, and there is currently a 20-hour cutscene collection on YouTube for the cutscenes.
If I don't come up with something soon.
You'll be pleased to hear that Blackthorn started work on the plating.
Excellent. 1 down, 2 to go.
So, what's next?
The helm, of course. For this, we'll be repurposing fallen scrap.
I will say,
Salvage
thankfully, the
from the
graphics
ruins.
are so good that the lip syncing
I
is
thought
like
that
not like a
material was all but
huge
impossible
sore
to
thumb
work.
kind of thing.
Ah, but we don't have
It's only
to.
an issue if you actually focus on it.
Sorry.
Just so happens there's one particular ruin that's broken into exactly the right shape and size pieces for what we need. What's the name back there? I'll give you all the details.
Just look at their eyes, chat. Just look at their eyes.
What's her name?
Eyes are up here, boys and girls.
Right.
Okay? Okay? All right.
Oh, Sid, is this about the helm?
Yes. Mid said I should speak with you.
I'll show you the plans then. Here you see the mithril engine, in which mithril is burned to generate heat. That heat is then harnessed to produce motive force. Excess heat
They're
is dealt with
burning
by means
mithril?
of the thermal displacement stack, which disperses it into the surrounding air. Now, were we to rely on thermal plating alone to achieve this effect, the rate
Don't
of
tell the
excess heat
dwarves.
buildup would far exceed the displacement coefficient of the plating. In other words, the reactor would overheat and eventually explode. This is where the helm comes in. It connects to the plating, you see, and serves as a sort of thermal sink to absorb all that excess energy.
They are really leaning into this whole mithril engine thing, aren't they?
Experiments have shown that fallen ceramics are remarkably thermophilic. They can withstand and absorb levels of heat far above anything we are able to make today. And not only that, they're also waterproof and immune to rust, making them the perfect material for our protective hood. Why? If sea or rainwater were to enter the reactor proper, it would vaporize instantly. The forces produced would tear the ship from stern to...
You can stop there. I understand. Mid said we might be able to use parts of a fallen ruin. Where would I find it?
Ah, yes. It's in Lorbert's Pass, near Lostwing. The thing is, well, I probably should have arranged to have the pieces we need brought here sooner. You see, a certain unwanted visitor has taken up residence there. It's no longer a matter of just walking in and taking them. It's, going to be considerably more dangerous than that.
I see. Then I suppose I'd better deal with this unwanted visitor for you. Would that help?
Oh, very much. Thank you, Sid. I'll gather my team and head there right away. We'll meet you outside the ruins.
Mm. Okay. Let's see, where are we going? Oh, there's no real good connector to that. Let's go.
But when can I go on a special?
But what about the curse?
Chat, what about the curse? So do you think this FF tops all other FFs? No. No. I see this game in a lot of ways. First of all, I need to beat it. So there's that. But the interesting thing about this game is that as somebody who plays games for a living and very much appreciates genre borders, it's going to be real hard saying that this game is like better than other Final Fantasies when it's such a departure over what classically makes a Final Fantasy game Final Fantasy. So it's like this again, if you were to put Final Fantasy on one side and Witcher 3 on the other, this game is more similar to Witcher 3 than a classic Final Fantasy game. So to say like, you know, oh, it's better than the others, it's kind of like, well, I mean, do you like Mortal Kombat over Gran Turismo? Like what, like, you know, it's that different in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, they're really especially when you start comparing them to like the classic Final Fantasies, like original 7 and NA3 and stuff like that. So it's tough. It's tough. So to answer your question, no, I would not say this is the best Final Fantasy. I would say it's a fantastic game so far, and I'm really loving it. But yeah, not really. It's going to be interesting when you start cataloging, like when people start making their rank lists of Final Fantasies, because very different.
Ruins are just over there, as is the creature I told you about, I'd imagine. Would you mind?
Of course. I'll be right back.
You know what's funny? People said the exact same thing, almost word for word, what you said about Final Fantasy VII. You're talking about the active time battle system? Well, I mean, you know, that was a very interesting. That was a very interesting departure from turn-based in a lot of ways. It's you know, I mean that's totally their prerogative as well, for sure.
Anybody home?
And then you have the battle system of 15, and then now you have 16. You've got the MMO aspects of 14. You've got, you know, like a lot of times they try a little something different with each one. So it's the first time I fought something like an hour. Oh wow, that broke right through my Titan shield.
Enough.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh. Schema says, did you see the... One sec.
Sid! Oh, thank goodness you're safe.
You shouldn't have any trouble.
Thank goodness
now.
you're safe.
Indeed. Well, don't let us keep you. We'll, see that everything is transported safely back to the hideaway.
All right. I'll let Mid know you're on your way.
Oh, what do I regard as classic Final Fantasy? I would say classic Final Fantasy is probably like NA3. Like even and you can even start arguing like 7, 8, and 9. Kind of start going into those. 13 in some ways is, but you know, that's when the departure kind of really starts. So yeah, I mean it's where you would decide that border again is very subjective. But 8 was super bad. I didn't think 8 was bad. I want to replay 8 and 9. I played those decades ago, and I would love to replay those again at some point. Yeah. I never played 9. I've never played 9. I played 8, but I didn't beat it. Loved 7. Played the hell out of 7. Yeah. Played 13, 11, and 12. No, I didn't play 11. That was the MMO. That was the first MMO. I didn't play 11. I played 12 and 13. Let's go back to mid. All of them have been so long ago, though. I mean, I barely remember. The one, what was it? I definitely vividly remember the one with the lines. You go into combat, and the lines would be like, beep, like pop out of your character and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 12. No, 8 was the gunblade. Oh, yeah. I'll never forget the first time I saw it. It was like,
That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
so I was like a young kid. I was like,
It's a gun that has a blade on it.
like, oh, man.
Who does that? Is that legal? Can they do that? Can they do that? His name is Squall? Oh my god. There's a leather jacket?
Oh,
I
man.
think Mid might need some help.
Loved it, dude.
If I don't come up with something soon.
Mid. Helena has recovered the material for the helm. She'll be along shortly.
Excellent. Another job well done.
And just one remaining.
Right. Right, the shielding. This one's a bit of a bugger.
How so?
The plating's enough to stop the engines going pop, but those things will still be spitting out enough fire to set the rest of the ship ablaze. Which is why you need proper shielding. A prison for the dragon's breath that's blazing away inside. I thought a triple thick layer of tempered steel might do it. Or more of the stuff that the Fallen use, but they'd both be too heavy. The helm and the plating are bulky enough as it is. Add any more weight and the whole ship would be at the bottom of the briny before we'd even started. I need something light. But I've racked my brains and I just can't think what would do it.
Well, if I were in need of obscure knowledge, I know whose counsel I would seek. Harpocrates.
Tomes? Yeah, well, I'd thought of that, obviously. I've got all the details written down here. Can you take this to him, see what he makes of it?
Right away.
Any plans to watch Jesse Costa's video about Not My Final Fantasy? It's great, doesn't have spoilers, talks about how this is as much a Final Fantasy as every other one because they're all very, very different. I mean, I would relatively fundamentally disagree with that. I mean, it's don't get me wrong, like I see why he would say that, but the idea that you would take a turn-based game and then, well, you know, I need to see it because I don't think I understand his argument. I don't think I understand his argument. If he's trying to say that an action RPG is the same as a turn-based RPG, that doesn't make any sense. But I'm guessing he's saying that Final Fantasy has evolved so much over the years that this is just the progression of the franchise. So, but see, the interesting thing there is that depends on your perspective. If you're talking about from the franchise perspective or the game mechanics perspective, because I don't think anyone would argue that this is an action RPG as opposed to like NA3. Which is a straight up turn-based game. So, you know, like, no one would say that that's the same type of game. In fact, there's entire genre definitions that separate those two. So, but in the same vein, if you accept that Final Fantasy games are constantly evolving, then, you know, that, I mean, that, I could see that. One sec. Cool. Okay. We're good. Sorry, guys. But yeah, anyway, before I comment anymore on Jesse's video, he normally knows exactly what he's talking about. So I'm going to wait and maybe check it out before I comment on it. Yeah. Jesse's pretty much saying that the fact that every Final Fantasy takes a risk, it tries to do something different. Some dip into fantasy more than others. Some are very high tech, but it's also because the original Final Fantasy itself was a risk. Yeah, yeah. From the perspective of a franchise, I think that that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay. I think I understand his argument. Yeah. I will say I think it's a very interesting discussion, especially among Final Fantasy fans, how this game is
Thanks to Sid.
is basically a completely different genre from what we've been seeing from them. So it is, you know, this is an action RPG. Which I think is, you know, it's understandable that there's a lot of fans that are like, I understand how this franchise evolves, but this is like a complete departure. Like it's, you know, it goes back to Skill Up's video for sure. Yeah, 15 was also very much a departure. Yes, this is like the next step of that departure.
Time. Could you take a look at this?
See, you know, it's an interesting argument when people hear me say something like that, and then I see in chat one person go truth, and then literally the person under him go not really, and I go, oh, okay, cool. So it actually is a discussion, right? Perfect. Classic chat experience. Yeah.
Shielding for a mithril engine.
Oh, here we go again.
Whatever will that girl think of next? And what are these notes around the edges?
She has some specific requirements for the materials. The shielding needs to be able to resist extreme heat on the inside, and yet remain cool enough on the outside not to set the ship alight, while also being light enough not to sink it. As you can imagine, she's struggling to find anything that meets her needs.
I see.
I wondered if you might know of a solution, or if you might be able to search the records for one.
Perhaps it is not a different material she requires, but a different approach.
What do you mean?
Consider the lake we have made our home. Its blighted waters eat away far more quickly than fresh water or even brine, at timber and steel alike. And yet, we have made a home here from those very materials nonetheless.
We have. But Bardolph must varnish every board twice over to keep it from rotting. And Obelisk complains that without a constant supply of pitch. I see.
Early Gregorian histories speak of a preparation known as moon dew. It is said to be able to resist even the most ferocious flames. Before the dragoons tamed the worms and wyverns of the realm, nobles would daub their castle walls with it in order to guard against dragonfire.
So if we could recreate it...
It might be applied to some material or other in order to provide the protection Mid requires. As to how best to apply it and to what material,
is required.
Perhaps Bardolph and Obelisk might be of assistance. I shall speak to them and see what wisdom they might have to offer. If you would be so kind as to procure the necessary ingredients, I shall discuss the specifics of how it might be most effectively put to use with our two friends. The knowledge of the past may yet prove useful to we of the modern era.
Thank you, Hippocrates. And since you're asking others to help you, perhaps I should too.
Fire and ice.
So you need a hand, do you?
We do. I'll be heading to market for the ingredients we need. I could do with some help. And some company too.
The other can assist me in researching how best to prepare the shielding itself.
Can we count on your aid?
Always. Well, if Jill's game.
Thank you.
I am sure either of these fine young minds would prove indispensable in my research.
Is this the dating sim part
I
of the game?
leave the decision
Yes.
as to who will go with whom in your capable hands, Clive.
Letting off steam 3.
Shielding that guards against even the most ferocious flames.
So, Clive, have you made your decision? Who will accompany you on your little excursion?
Really? Come on.
Very well. So then, what do we need to find?
I have taken the liberty of preparing a list. Here.
I feel like
White
chat would
chocobo
literally
eggs.
riot if I didn't pick Jill.
Pepio nuts. Are you sure this list is right? Everything on here seems very edible. I would have thought the ingredients would be a little more exotic.
Though these items may seem mundane, they have potent effects that are rarely exploited, effects for which they were once highly prized. So much so, in fact, that they were harvested almost to extinction, hence moon dews having fallen from favor. Now, of course, they can be obtained with ease. You should be able to find everything you need at the market in Northreach.
Is that so? I've been meaning to visit Northreach anyway. I'll set out now. Join me there when you're ready.
I will. Until then.
You two enjoy yourselves.
You too, Talia.
All right, friendos. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I unfortunately got to run. I will be back this afternoon. I think we're going to do more main story. Get as much done of that as we can. Penguin Dreaming, thank you for the 20 months. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to kind of go from there. Tonight is going to be something. I don't know what we're doing tonight on the Cohh channel. It'll be something fun. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So anyway, thanks for being here. If you want to know when I'm back and what we'll be doing, that is the best way to do it. Really appreciate those that pick it up. That is our mobile app, and I will see you guys later for more fun and games. Back after lunch.